Welcome, good people of New York and beyond. I'm Christina Pagan, your host for A Life in Art. In this program, we endeavor to bring you engaging and personal conversations with artists whom you may not know, people who have been working on their craft for at least a decade and have been struggling to find the balance between following their artistic passion and making ends meet. We discuss creativity and inspiration with our guest artists, but also find out their philosophies in finding the equilibrium between practicality and creative passion. We're hoping you become inspired by these artists' stories. Our guest today is a Toronto native who always knew that she wanted to perform. From the age of 7, she was dancing in competitions all over the United States and Canada. She's been a backup dancer for many artists, including Katy Perry, Bow Wow, and Neil Young. She's been featured in commercials for McDonald's, Liberty Mutual, and CTV's So You Think You Can Dance Canada, and has graced the stage in various off-Broadway shows and several tours. Today we learn about Alana Randall's life in art. And we are on set with Alana Randall. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So, Alana, I've met you through a friend of mine who I'm trying to get on this show, but we're not going to talk about that right now. It's about you, right? So you are from Toronto, right?
I am.
And you, in your bio that you sent me, you said that you started at age 3 with dancing. Can you talk to us about age 3? That's really young.
Yeah.
So what was the first thing that got you interested in dancing and performing?
Well, I had a lot of energy as a baby, so my mom put me in baby ballet, and ever since then I've been dancing.
You started out with ballet, and what else did you study?
Well, when I was about 7, I started doing dance competitions, training in jazz, ballet, acro. Gymnastics as well, though like that's a different path, but I love dancing even more so. But pretty much every form of dance I've trained in my life, so.
Do you have like a artistically inclined family? Your parents or your brothers and sisters?
Well, my mom sings, like not professionally, but she has a voice on her. I heard that my grandfather, when he was alive, he was a very talented piano player and singer as well, so definitely runs in my blood.
Yeah, because I was just wondering, I mean, at age 3 to be up and dancing, I mean, I too was like, at age 4, I was putting on performances for my family.
Yeah.
Were you doing the same thing? Like
Pretty much for the most part.
So so after dance, you also got into acting and singing. Were the two like equal to dance, or is dance more of a love passion of yours?
Well, dance was definitely my first love in the arts, but as I grew older, and I was very shy as a kid, let me add, and as I like just grew confidence and all of that, like I started to sing more and act more, and I believe when I started high school, I started taking more like courses with musical theater involving that, and I just really loved it. I'm like, wow, like I can do all 3 at once, so that's when it started.
It's funny that you say that you were a shy kid and then the arts brought it out of you, brought this personality out of you. Do you think that it changed who you were eventually, who you were to become?
Definitely gave me more confidence, especially in this industry. Like, you meet people from all walks of life, so it definitely gave me more confidence to be able to, make friends and travel and not be afraid.
What's the art scene like in Toronto?
Smaller than New York, for sure, but yeah, pretty much the same. Like, there's definitely opportunities there, but New York is a big pond, and definitely there's more opportunity here, which is why I moved here.
When did you actually get to New York?
Officially moved in 2009 and have been here ever since. Yeah.
Oh, on and off between
On
tours.
and off, yes, definitely. Like, different jobs like took me other places. So
why New York and not LA?
Well, I feel like LA is more for TV film, and I definitely wanted to pursue, Broadway and musical theater, so I definitely felt like New York was more for me.
So it's not so much about, I mean, because I know a lot of dancers who are very much into the dance world, and so they move to LA for like music videos and to be part of that sort of thing, but that didn't really appeal to you, right?
Well, I definitely have, in my career have done, the music video thing and backup dancing, but I definitely saw more longevity in Broadway stuff and musicals. Yeah.
So what was the first gig that you got when you got to New York?
I did Vagina Monologues, which was off Broadway at the Jerry Orbach Theater, and yeah, that was my first experience.
What was that like for you? That was your first gig that you booked, and for that particular play as well. I've done it. I've directed it.
It's definitely intense.
It's intense,
Yeah.
right? So how did you feel when you got that call?
I was excited, nervous, because definitely like I'm a dancer first, but this definitely was very challenging because like you had to be very vulnerable and it was just strictly acting and Jerry Orbach Theater. I don't know if you've been inside it, but it's very intimate, especially the studio theater. Like the audience, they're up in your face, and so I was definitely nervous, but it pushed me in different ways. So,
how many auditions had you been on before you got that?
I don't even know, like a lot, like because definitely when you as an artist, when you move to New York, you gotta put yourself out there. You can't just rely on your agent to just send you out on auditions. What I love about New York is that you can go online and look at like a million auditions happening in a day, and you can just like audition hop. And yeah, definitely you gotta put yourself out there. So
what is something that you learned very quickly when you were on these audition hopping days, or when you got to New York? Was something you learned very quickly about the industry?
That I learned that you definitely need to be able to, brush off an audition. Like, if you had a bad audition, brush it off, on to the next. You can't dwell in it. You can't beat yourself up about it, and definitely need to just move on. Yeah.
All right. So you were in the Vagina Monologues, and then how long did it take you to get your next gig? Because you're just talking about how like you have to brush those off, because a lot of times you go from a gig and then there's a long pause in your career, and some people get very discouraged about that.
Not very long, because I kind of like hopped back and forth between Canada and the US doing different gigs. I would do musical theater gig, like a musical here, then I would do TV film gig here. So not long, like maybe like a short couple months within each gig.
Well, that's actually...
And sometimes I would like finish a gig and on to the next like within 2 weeks. So I've been pretty lucky in that way, yeah.
That is really lucky. We have to take a quick break, but we'll come back and we'll talk about what came after that and a little bit more about your philosophy about art.
Perfect.
So we'll have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more about Alana when we return.
Teachers today are finding new ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today, I'm just an aluminum can, but one day, I could be a stadium.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
And welcome back to A Life in Art. We're here with performer Alana Randall. So you just got out of the Vagina Monologues, and you said you were hopping back and forth between Canada and New York. First of all, that had to be pretty stressful.
It was an adventure. I wouldn't say stressful. I was just excited and happy to work. Yeah.
What was outside of the Vagina Monologues, what was the first gig that you got that you really felt like, I made it, or this is what I want to be doing, that you were right, you were vindicated?
Well, I always wanted to be a performer ever since I was young. I don't remember a time where, like, I thought otherwise, but I believe, like, the first gig that I was just like, yes, like, it's taking off, you know, things are happening, is when I booked my first TV series, which is called Hellcats, and it was on the CW network, starring Ashley Tisdale. So I was just like, you know, working alongside people that, you know, have been in the industry for a long time, and you know, stars that, you know, are in the limelight. And I was just like, yeah, it was a great experience, a learning experience, because I didn't have a lot of TV film experience at that time, so it was a great experience.
So that's interesting. So you said that you always knew that you wanted to be a performer. Did it ever occur to you to have a backup plan? Like, you know how some artists are, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and this is what I'd love to do, but just in case it doesn't pan out, you know, they'll study something else.
Well, when I first moved to New York, it was to study broadcast journalism, so that was my backup.
Well, look at you here.
And then, like, after that, my career I just continuously was booking things. But broadcast journalism is kind of like, in a way, similar to performing. Like, you gotta definitely get yourself out there in order to, and pay your dues in order to get the work. But yeah, I just couldn't see myself ever doing anything else, and I just kept on pushing.
So you were on Hellcats. How long did that run?
A season.
A season, that's what I thought.
But it was great. It was a great experience.
I mean, but there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, short gigs come, but then that leads you to a connection that you might make on set with somebody else. Has making or networking on a previous gig that maybe didn't last very long ever led to something bigger and better for you?
Oh, for sure. Like, you'll meet, work with choreographers or even other performers where they'll remember you, and they'll like Facebook you or get your contact or call your agent and be like, hey, I remember Alana Randall, is she available, like, to do this other show? Like, it's led to other gigs for sure.
So you just came off of a tour.
Dirty Dancing.
Oh, Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What is it like to do a tour?
It's exciting. It's an adventure. It can be hard at times, like, as in jumping from hotel to hotel, place to place, and you know, missing your family. But for the most part, like, it's exciting. You get to perform in different theaters all over the country and even internationally, and meet new people, and just, you know, grow close to strangers. You know.
Grow close. Do you think that you're a people person?
I can be like pretty reserved and shy sometimes, but for the most part, yeah, I love meeting new people.
So have you ever had an experience, you know, in your career where you said, you know what, I'm never going to do that again? It was just, I don't know, maybe it was a person or just a situation that said that, you know, I'm never going to do that again in my career, and why? As in
like do another, like, job, like job-wise?
Maybe you're never going to work with that person, or you're never going to work in a situation like this again. Maybe it was something about the set or the disorganization, something like that.
There's been some situations where I'm just like, it rubbed me the wrong way, but I don't think I would ever have any regrets. I don't have any regrets, because it led me to where I am right now in my career and in my life, and yeah, no regrets.
What is it? What keeps you going in this career, in this profession?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like like sometimes like myself as well as any other performer, we have moments where we're just like, what am I doing? Like, you know, like this, it can be pretty hard and intense at times, you know, especially when you're in between gigs and you don't know what's gonna come next. It can be pretty scary and, you know, worrisome, but what gets me going is just, you know, when I do get that next gig or that call, it's just like, you know, very exciting. Yeah, and rewarding, so.
You said just now that all these performers go through that moment of not knowing and being, you know, apprehensive and what am I doing? What is, how, can you talk a little bit more about what that feels like for you? Like just when you say, what am I doing? But you see, but in contrast to you saying that, you know, you've always known that this is what you want to do. How did the two come together?
Well, not to say that like, what am I doing as in like I like have any doubts about doing what I do, but as in, you know, it's scary not knowing like when your next paycheck is gonna come, like, you know, and you know, when your next job is gonna come or you know, where your life is gonna go next. You know, if you're gonna have to like pick up and move somewhere else for a different job or stay here in New York, you know, it can be crazy.
I mean, it is a scary proposition, like not knowing what's next and trying to figure out, okay, then what do I do to, how long can I sustain, you know, not working?
Yeah.
And I think that's where most people decide that this is maybe not the career path for them as much as they love performing or they love the arts, that they don't want to handle that kind of stress.
Yeah, especially when, like, the older you get, when you want to, you know, eventually settle down and have a family. You know, like, you can't continue, like, I can't just, like, pick up and go on a national tour if I have a husband and, you know, kids. Like, so you definitely want to build stability and, you know.
Great. So we'll stop right there to go on our next break, building stability. So we'll talk a little bit about more what that means for you in our next segment. So again, we have to take a break, so be right back with more about Alana.
I want to be able to impact the community, to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today, I'm just an aluminum can, but one day, I could be a stadium.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills, the smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
And welcome back to A Life in Art. We're here with performer Alana Randall. So we left off with you talking about creating something stable. Is that something that's in your life plan or no?
Eventually, but right now, like, I'm single,
Living that
don't
life.
have kids. So, hey, if a national tour comes in my life, then I'll take it.
Speaking of, so you have a few things in the works, yeah? That's really exciting. Like to go. I mean, you just came off of one tour not too long ago, and then you went traveling the world a little bit, and now you're right back on it. You know?
Yeah.
That, I mean, not a lot of people can say that happens to them. How does that make you feel as a performer, as an artist? You know, having started at 3 and now you are who you are now, and your skill, and how does it boost your confidence?
Feels amazing. Like, definitely, like no matter where I go in my career, I always have like even higher goals for myself. you know, as do any performer. But yeah, it just feels great, and definitely want to continue to push myself.
You just mentioned, so you have higher goals. What are your higher goals?
Broadway.
Broadway? Like starring role on Broadway? What would be your ideal role?
I don't know if I have an ideal role, but right now I would love to be on Hamilton.
Oh, of course, right? Who wouldn't want to be on Hamilton?
Yeah.
That's great. So Broadway, do you have any ambition to be in film or television, or is it really just theater for you? And what is it about theater that calls you?
I definitely would like to pursue TV film as well. But right now, while, you know, getting the ball rolling in New York, I definitely want to stick to musical theater right now, and then eventually, you know, move on to TV film. It's hard to do both, you know, jumping back and forth. You kind of got to like commit to one or the other. So.
We're talking about commitment issues. Do we have commitment issues? Maybe a little bit. Have you ever considered teaching? Like, have you?
Yeah, I've definitely taught master classes, and back in Canada, I used to teach at different dance schools, but I kind of had to, well, I had to stop that because it just got hard, like having to, you know, leave dance studios and you know, find a sub or explain to the little kids, you know, that grew attached to me, you know, why Miss Alana has to leave, you know.
Yeah, Miss
Alana. I do miss teaching, but definitely like I'm open to, you know, teaching workshops.
What do you think is the most important thing for someone who's pursuing a life in art to remember as they continue, as they hit roadblocks? What do you think is the most important thing for them to remember?
Always be yourself, stay humble, stay grounded, work hard, and yeah, you like be nice, be kind. Like you never know who you're talking to. Like don't be mean to others because they could be the one that's casting you. Yeah.
Have you ever had that blow up in your face, or is that just something no? You're a good person.
I should hope so.
No, I mean like sometimes you learn that lesson after having done something that you probably shouldn't have, and it's like, oh, that's one of those things that I'm never going to do again.
Well, my parents always taught me to be kind to others. Definitely don't let people walk all over you, but yeah, for the most part, like you know, until you know, disrespect me, I'm kind to others.
That's fair enough. What is some advice that you would give to maybe one of your students if they want to pursue performance? What is something that you would say to them now?
Definitely work hard. Work hard. Don't lose sight of your goals or your dreams. Don't let anybody, you know, tell you that you can't. And yeah, I think it's possible.
If you could do it all over again, what would you change? Would you change anything at all?
No, like I don't think I would change anything. Like, because it's what brought me to where I am right now. So I don't think I would change anything. Yeah.
Is there anywhere that we can go to find out more information about Alana the performer? Maybe are you booking information, stuff like that?
Well, my website is in the works, but for now you can check me out on Instagram at Lala_Randall. And
all right.
Yeah.
You can follow the life of this performer, right? It would be fantastic. So good luck to you on all your future endeavors, and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else, any last words you might have for anybody, our viewers, about what it means to have a life in art?
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but it's an adventure. It's fun, and I love what I do.
Yay! So that's a wonderful way to end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It seems that we've run out of time, as we tend to do. Thanks to Alana for sharing her life in art with us, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. We want to encourage you to connect with us on social media. Visit us on Facebook and YouTube at A Life in Art and Instagram and Twitter at A Life in Art TV. We'll be back with more stories from artists when we return with A Life in Art.
I want to be able to impact the community, to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today, I'm just an aluminum can, but one day, I could be a stadium.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
Hey, you!
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Teachers today are finding new ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable.